Click the link in the description for your free Amsoil catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be your advertising message. Well, good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here. I have a robust lineup of vintage snowmobile entertainment on tap for you tonight, but before we get into all of that, I want to make sure that everything is working properly. So, if you can see my face and hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment. Please let me know where you're viewing this from and whether you are a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. Now, to our first-time viewers, if this is your first time hanging out with us tonight, I hope you have a good time with us tonight, and I hope you decide to join us here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. This podcast simulcasts to 8 different places across Facebook and YouTube. So wherever you're viewing this right now, just circle back in 1 week's time, and it will be here waiting for you with another episode. Now, to our regular viewers who are here week after week, month after month, and season after season, you guys are the ones who make this possible, and we very, very much appreciate that. Now, let's take a few quick comments, and then we're going to bring our friends on and get the party started. Our good friend John Spranger Jr. is saying happy holiday from Eland, Wisconsin, and I met up with John just, I think it was like a month or so ago. We had a wonderful visit. Jim Holbrook from Thetford Center, Vermont, regular viewer. Jim is in the house. Great to see you, Jim. Carmen Russo from Oneida, New York is in the house. Rob Baker is in the house. Can see it and hear it. First-time viewers, and they're here from Plymouth, New York. Thank you so much, Rob, for being in the house. Dave Trim, first-time viewer from Carthage, New York. Thank you so much for joining us. We got someone on Facebook from Warwick, New York. Appreciate that. Reese Fleury, our good friend and regular viewer. Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Yes, just a few days away. Mike Bartlett from Durhamville, New York. Appreciate you being on with us tonight. Someone on Facebook says loud and clear from Sudbury, possibly Sudbury, Ontario. Regular viewer. Appreciate you being on. Steve Moser says happy holidays from New Jersey. First-time viewer, and he's here to see our mutual friend, Rich Schaad, who we're going to meet here in just a moment. Just a few more quick comments, and we'll bring our friends on. We got a flood of comments tonight, and we really appreciate that. It's nice to have a full house here. Mark Radil, I think is how that's pronounced. Max Garage signing in from Kingsville, Ohio. Thanks for joining us tonight. Dave Lowry from Alberta, Canada. Kevin Culhane, loud and clear in Sudbury, Ontario. Regular viewer. Thank you for coming on. Arctic Cat, Dennis Malibu, Perrysburg, New York. Happy holidays. Well, happy holidays back. We appreciate that. Just a couple more quick comments here. Hi, Mike from Vernon Center, New York. Appreciate your coming on. Greetings from Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. Our good friend Armin Buto. Love to get you on the podcast sometime, Armin. He's got a lot of wonderful snowmobiles. We would just love to do some live show and tell. By the way, we're going to be doing some live show and tell later in the podcast. Dale Marting says Happy New Year, and Tim Berwick says first-time viewer from Marlborough, New York. So that's all we're going to take for now with the comments. We want to bring our friends on and get the party started. So let's do exactly that. And let me get the shots set up. And how was I doing that before? I had everything set up really cool. And get the microphones turned on. I'm doing that from this end. Gentlemen, how are we all doing tonight?
Hey, doing good.
Doing well.
Doing good.
Doing good, Mike.
Cool deal. So on the larger screen from left to right, we've got Rich, we've got Thom, and we've got Thom's son, Eric. And of course, in the peanut gallery on the right here, we've got myself and our co-host, Rob Hilditch.
How was your Christmas, Mike?
Oh, it was wonderful. And how was everyone's Christmas?
Awesome. We had a great time.
Christmas are for kids. I'm waiting for New Year's.
Yes, exactly.
I
Exactly.
said Christmas was great with the family, and it was 3 hours of straight chaos with the grandkids, and that was the highlight.
No doubt. No doubt. So our friends here tonight, we've got a few things we're going to do tonight, and a little bit later we're going to do some live show and tell. They are in kind of a man cave over there where there's a whole lot of sleds surrounding them, and I'm going to try to let the suspense build up before we do some live show and tell on that. So before we're going to do that, and the way we're going to build the suspense is they're going to tell us about a memorial event that they're hosting that'll be happening in about 1 month's time. Take it away, gentlemen. Tell us about that event.
Yeah, so we're hosting a ride, which we do annually as our group. And this is really a fledgling group that got started a few years ago by Rich and one of our other founding members, Mark DeCuffa. And so the idea is, we like to ride. And so unfortunately, one of our members, Maddie Bewick, passed away. His family really immediately reached out to us, and we were very honored to be able to support them at this difficult time. And so, we decided as a group, because it was something they wanted to do, is do something fun in celebration of Maddie. We decided that, our second annual ride was going to be a celebration of Matt. And so if you can put that graphic up, Mike, Matt, I got to know because he wanted to buy that Blizzard, actually. And Eric and I went down to his place and purchased another Blizzard that he had. It's pretty rare sled as is that one, that 1970 292. Matt really loved snowmobiles and snowmobiling, and especially the vintage shows. And he was always supporting our local shows, even though he lived down in Marlborough near Poughkeepsie. He came up here to support us. So our group is really turning out, and we'd be really proud to have a lot of people turn out to our group. Maddie was just really very passionate, very kind, very caring person. And one of the things we're going to be doing at our event is bringing some awareness to the issue of suicide and trying to raise a little bit of money for suicide prevention at the same time.
Yeah, so it's a great cause.
We're going to be at West Monroe, and we've got that graphic there with the ride. If you go to our Facebook page for Northshore Vintage Sleds, we'd welcome people to join up. There's also a Facebook event for that. Please click that you're going, or at least interested, so we kind of get a rough head count. We're hoping to have some snow conditions to ride, but regardless of whether there's conditions to ride or not, we're going to be gathering starting first thing in the morning, about 10 a.m. for coffee, and continuing on through noon for registration. So we want people to turn out early, bring your sleds regardless of weather. Hopefully the ride can get off at 1 p.m. sharp, and then at the end of the ride, we're going to do some recognition and also a little pizza and wings. So, all in all, we're going to have a great time regardless. And Maddie's family is going to be there. And so we'd like to, really just have a good opportunity to celebrate Matt and do the things he loved, which was riding vintage sleds.
Yeah, that's a great way to remember him. And also there are links in the description to everything you've just talked about. So if you're curious about checking any of this out, there are links in the description so you can learn more about it. And I'll pop that graphic up one more time. So if anyone is in upstate New York thinking about attending this, these are the details. And it promises to be a wonderful event.
Even if you can't attend the ride, there's other ways to support us. And we've got some other things going on our Facebook page. So check it out. We'd welcome, people to get involved.
Sure. And then we do have a clip. I think it was last year's event, the Tayberg event.
Yeah, that was one of the local shows. You going to roll some of that for us, Mike?
Yeah, if you feel like we're ready, let's take a look at that, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Sure. Let's take a look at that clip. And it's taking a moment to open here. It frequently does that. This is where we need to cue up some Jeopardy music.
Just don't start singing.
of the 1967 Colt 130.
Give me 20 seconds.
So yeah, thank you so much to Eric. Eric, if you at the top of the screen on your right, he's the gentleman who did the videography on that and the editing, and he did a great job. Yeah, anything we should know about that show, gentlemen, that we were just looking at?
Yeah, that's a show put on by our good friend Jeff Maurer, and Ed Stab is also very involved in all the local shows. And so, our group tries to go to all the different local shows and support them. And so Eric has really taken on a tradition of at the shows just running through a walkthrough video, and people really are very responsive to it. It's really, really been a lot of fun, and hearing people's feedback, and people love obviously that they can, reminisce about the show, recapture some of those things, or for those people that couldn't make it.
Oh, for sure. And Eric has an excellent YouTube channel, incidentally. There's a link to it in the description. So if you like what you saw here, there's a whole lot more on his channel. Be sure and check that out. But Rob, any reactions to what we were just looking at?
Oh, that looked like a fun show and great weather for the show. But what was that boat driving around?
Yeah. Let me get that back.
Was that something that somebody personally made, or it was available for the rescue?
I think that was special order.
Yeah.
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 Same with the four-wheeler.
Yeah, I could tell the four-wheeler because I recognize the front end off it.
The guy that built the boat is also the guy that built the quad sled, and they're good friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is that boat truly amphibious? Will that float if he goes into the water with that?
I do not know. It's probably only rated for about 6 inches, I'd say.
Sure. Sure. And we've got plenty of comments coming in, and I want to encourage the viewers, if there's anything there that caught your eye, please leave comments. And if you have questions too, let me pop some comments on the screen here because they're coming in hot and heavy. Let me just find my place here from where we stopped earlier. Okay, here we go. I think we looked at this one. Tim Berwick from Marlborough, New York, first-time viewer. We've got Chris Tomasino Schaad, must be related to Rich Schaad. It says, hello from the Rich Schaad home in Cleveland, New York. Cool deal. He has some family in the house. Reese Fleury, our good friend, a good friend to most of us here, I believe. Hello, gentlemen, he says. Cheryl Coe says, blessings for a happy new year. Daryl, Cheryl, and Garrett Coe from Munnsville, New York. Very cool. And then our good friend Brian Van Heverbeek from Canada says, hope you had a great holiday season and great job on the podcast from Ontario, Canada. Now, Brian, by the way, is a kitty cat collector. He has an incredible collection of kitty cats. And he's been on the podcast, by the way. We've got someone on Facebook saying, love you, Mike. Great job with your podcast. Thank you so much. Love you back. Dominic Kane, who's also been on the podcast. Hello from rainy Michigan. Hopefully that turns to snow at some point. Also, a good friend, I believe to all of us here, our good friend Josh Leviker is in the house, and he says good evening. Josh is involved in many of these shows as well. I know he's one of the organizers of the Turin show, and he works with Ed Stab quite a lot on some of these shows. Someone on Facebook says, great show. I know the owner of those moto skis, LOL. Yes. Rob Baker says, I didn't see any Alpines in that video. Wait, maybe right at the beginning of the clip. That's quite possible. In fact, while I have the ability, let's go back to the beginning of the clip and see.
I think he was with. He saw a little bit. He saw a little
That
bit of
one
our
right
Alpine grooming. That's
right
actually,
there.
That's our grounds around here where we are at the shop, and so we have maybe about a 2-mile stretch of trail now that we groom, and we have good time here after the shows.
Very cool. And then Mark Radio was asking about that boat. I don't know if our discussion on that has satisfied his curiosity, or if you've got specific questions, Mark, about that. By all means, please ask.
We'll
go
get
ahead.
it right up next podcast.
Cool. Yes. And then Ogan Dyfet says, okay, that's some different language. I don't know if that's. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Oh, and we're getting more of that. All right, my apologies. Sometimes we get stuff in here that we weren't anticipating. Our good friend John Springer Jr. says we have no snow in Wisconsin due to the warm weather. Eagle River Vintage Championship races have been postponed to February 9th, 10th, and 11th. They had the ice oval completed, and now it's got soft spots and air pockets. That's going to be a nightmare for those guys. Josh Leverker says, I always like watching the videos from the shows as I get so busy at the shows that I can't ever go around and look at all the sleds because he's one of the organizers. He says, I refer to the videos for what was shown at the shows. And then it's true. A lot of times when you're organizing an event, you're so darn busy with the details of it that you can't just kind of stop and enjoy what's there and what came that day. Dave Lowry says, love the late 70s Snow Pro sleds. Yes, I was admiring those myself. Christopher O'Neill Champagne says, good evening. Good evening back. We've got someone on Facebook saying Eric does a great job on his videos. He certainly does. Yes, he does. Roger Rice, great people doing these shows. Very happy to see this. Wonderful. Steve Moser says, great job on the video. And Steve Woodward says, aloha from Rochester, New York. Well, cool. We are...
That's the way it feels, eh, Mike?
Exactly.
Roger breezes. Because he wins the first place a lot of times on his old EXT.
Yeah. Oh, and then we've got John Zuccarelli from Buffalo, New York. Mike Bartlett. He says his buddy Gino built the boat and sold it this summer. It's been in many shows and parades, but it didn't float. So that answers the question as far as. And he says John Zuccarelli says no snow, go Bills. Cool deal. Well, cool. So what we're going to do at this time, I'm going to take this video down and let me just change spots here. We're on item number 2 on the menu here. It's time for some announcements. We're going to have Rob talk to us about Amsoil, and then I'm going to talk to you about the Lancaster Motel. And then once we're finished with all of that, we're going to do some live show and tell.
We want to thank Rob for this support for our event with some Amsoil products. So, Rob, thank you very much. And you too as well, Mike. On the podcast for giving us some product to help support our event. We appreciate that.
Well, it's a good charity you guys are doing, so.
For sure. Yeah, and we appreciate you doing that, helping to promote us at the show. And that's the wonderful thing about this community is, it's a small community, so we're all here to help each other. I'm happy to help promote your shows and events, and you guys are promoting the podcast, and it's just a wonderful, it puts the true spirit of community in community. It wasn't the smoothest way to say that, but I think you know what I'm saying. It's that's what community is about. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But so I'm going to put Rob full screen, and Rob is going to talk to us about Amsoil.
Okay, I had nothing planned this week, Mike, but we'll try. Anybody who wants can get an Amsoil catalog from Mike. There's a link on the bottom of the page to click on the catalog. The catalogs are sent to you free. And inside the catalog is all the products Amsoil sells, and they also have the retail and commercial and preferred customer prices on there. We don't hide what the price is. So say you wanted a case of like the Interceptor oils the gentleman's just sold there. The 1 gallon pail, 4 of them in a box, retails for $251. If you become a preferred customer, you can buy it directly from Amsoil for $185. $60, $70 you're saving on a case, and they ship it right to your door free. Anything more than $100, you get free shipping right to your door. And to be a preferred customer, it only costs $10 for 6 months. You save that on your first order. So as a preferred customer for the next 6 months, everything in that book you save 25% on. And every couple of weeks they have a big promotion. This week's promotion is the magnetic bowl. So anytime somebody buys $75 worth, they're going to send you a free magnetic bowl with your parts for put your parts in. I have a lot of my garages like that. They put it right on their hoist, so when they're changing the snow tires, throw the bolts right in there and it sticks right in there. So it's an extra item Amsoil is going to give you by becoming a preferred customer. And by becoming a preferred customer, you get the best possible price on the Amsoil product. For more information, Mike's giving you the link right there on the page, how to become a preferred customer and buy everything yourself directly from Amsoil. You don't have to buy a whole case. You can buy 2 bottles of Interceptor, 1 bottle of chain case, 1 bottle of Z-Rod oil, anything you want. You can mix and match. But if you buy $100 worth, free shipping right to your door. And anybody that didn't get a calendar, send us an email. We'll send you a free calendar. Mike, just send it to Mike, and Mike will send the addresses on to me, and we'll ship the calendars out to you.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm looking for the email address. Here we go. Pop in the email address on the screen for that free calendar. And while that's up, I also need to add to that if you were intrigued by what Rob was saying about the preferred customer program, there's a link in the description. Now, if you click that link in the description and you decide to join the preferred customer program, now you've signed up under me. I'm now your dealer, and Rob and I are available to help you. And if you're buying Amsoil through me, you're helping to support this podcast. The profits I make selling Amsoil go to support the expenses of doing this podcast. So all you do is click the link, just a couple of clicks to join the preferred customer program, and then click to start shopping around, and anything you order will come up at the deepest level of discount. That $10 fee he talked about, you're going to save that in most cases right on your first order. You're going to save well over that $10. And then, it's a wonderful way to support this podcast. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it sure makes a huge difference to this podcast, because that's how we pay the bills that are associated with doing this. We appreciate that, Rob. Now, the other thing I talked about is our good friends at the Lancaster Motel do a lot to help support this podcast and help support the history of snowmobiling. And much of the snowmobiling history began in Lancaster, New Hampshire. In fact, the first Ski-Doo snowmobiles were imported and sold in Lancaster, New Hampshire. All of those first Ski-Doo dealers in the U.S. were set up out of Lancaster. Also, the first snowmobile club in America was formed in Lancaster, the Lancaster Snowdrifters, and many of those trails still exist. So if you want to do some snowmobiling in Lancaster on some of the earliest trails in the United States, that's the place to do it. One other thing is that Lancaster, New Hampshire is home to Crane's Snowmobile Museum, just a short walk from the Lancaster Motel. There's over 100 sleds in there. It is by appointment only. So if you book a room at the Lancaster Motel, your next move is then to call Crane's Snowmobile Museum to book a time to go over there and view the museum. I've got a quick clip I'm going to play that talks about the Lancaster Museum. Let's take a look at that, and we'll get right back into the podcast. We'll catch you on the other side in about 1 minute. I'd like to give a quick shout out to our friends at the historic Lancaster Motel in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Lancaster Motel has been serving snowmobilers since the 60s, and they are the perfect eastern trail riding destination for snowmobilers young and old. The Lancaster Motel is right on Corridor Trail 5 in Lancaster, New Hampshire, with plenty of parking for vehicles, sleds, and trailers. Plus, the Lancaster Motel is within walking distance of Crane's Snowmobile Museum, plus restaurants, shopping, entertainment, and more. Click the link in the description to learn more about the Lancaster Motel. Yeah, so just the last comment on that, if you're the kind of person that would like to combine a snowmobile vacation with some snowmobile history, there's no better destination that offers that combination of Crane Snowmobile Museum, the first snowmobile club in America, and just there's so much history in Lancaster about the early days of snowmobiling. There's racing there, and that's where some of the first racing in New England started. Just so much going on there in the way of history, and it's the Lancaster Motel was also where all the racers used to stay during the Lancaster Grand Prix in the 60s and 70s. Bob Eastman stayed there. Gilles Villeneuve stayed there. I've got an image. I wish I had it handy of Gilles Villeneuve receiving an award in the lobby of the Lancaster Motel. So there's just so much history there. So let me get to where we need to be here. We are on item number 3, and this could possibly be what we've all been waiting for. It's now time for some live show and tell of some vintage snowmobiles there in the room where these gentlemen are sitting. Gentlemen, what have we got here to take a look at?
We're going to switch. If we can have you put us in the backstage and pull Eric front and center with the live camera, we will go around the room, and you can focus in on whatever. We can probably talk about them as we're going.
Absolutely. There we go. So let me change things up a little. There we go. And let me turn his microphone on. Oh, he may have to turn. Oh, it's on. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're getting some.
Set back up the way we had and put us on live again and get muted.
You're getting a lot of feedback here.
Probably put us back.
Yeah, we're having an issue with the audio. We're getting some feedback. I'm not sure if that's going to resolve itself. I've been experimenting with the microphones here on this end, and nothing seems to be helping. Let me turn that microphone back on again and see if we're doing any better. I don't know if it's possible to turn down the audio on the cameras you have there in the room, because I know there are multiple cameras. There's a cell phone, and I think, and a laptop. I don't know if it's possible to turn the speaker down on one of those.
How's that?
That's a little better. But the challenge it's going to present, I think, I don't know if anyone has the possibility of headphones, but the challenge it's going to make it difficult for us to communicate back and forth. But let's keep rolling with it, because we've got some eye candy here. At the very least, we can look at some eye candy in silence. That's the worst case. But
Yeah. Can you turn Eric's mic back on, Mike?
It is. It's on.
Okay, so we're good.
yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
So we'll just use his phone. I think we've solved the feedback issue. So you can probably turn it up a little bit. So Rich, take it away.
So this is our my wife and I's 72 ATX 500. Seen it at a show one year. Liked it. She had a SS Twin that's also a 1972. So I kept after the guy that owned it until he finally sold it to me. And we took it for one ride and lost an idler wheel. And when we came home, my wife says, well, you got all summer. Why not tear it apart and do it the right way? So I spent a year and a half restoring this sled, or rebuilding. I don't call it restored. It's rebuilt to be riding. We put 90 miles on it last year, I think. But yeah, it's a work of art, and it's so much fun to ride.
I'll bet it is. It's beautiful. And I'd like to encourage our viewers, if you have comments, questions, compliments, please leave them in the comment section. But yes, please continue, Rich.
All 1972s.
90 miles. That's a good trip they did on that.
Well, that was the whole year. That one trip. I don't think I'll go 90 miles on a tank of gas.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And we've got Steve Moser says we're coming in great now, which is good. So we've got the audio situation resolved. And then Reese Fleury says beautiful Polaris.
Thank you.
John Zuccarelli is saying very beautiful as well. And that is some serious eye candy right there. I bet when you get that running, there's some ear candy going on too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it sings. The Northshore Vintage Sleds, you can see there's a lot of pictures of it, a lot of videos of it.
Yep.
Some with the skis in the air.
Yes.
YouTube channel.
Yeah.
There's lots of clips of it running around here. So.
Your turn.
So we've got more comments coming in. Mark Radiel says that sled is Bootsy Brown approved.
Thank you.
And then we've got Paul Reagan saying, hi guys, love the Polaris. Arctic Cat says, let's hear it, fire it up. I don't know if that's an option, but we'd love to hear it if it is an option. Chris Tomasino Schaad says, so glad I pushed you to restore it. She says it's beautiful.
Okay.
And
Tommy, we have to pull this jump. Now.
Yeah,
One
that
of my
thing's
friends
hard.
had one of those, Mike, and we called it the airplane when we heard it coming across the field.
Nice. And we've got tons of comments coming in. People are really responding to this. Rod Lacari says, "Hi guys, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Love those Polarises." Steve Woodward is giving us a double thumbs up. Jerry Patton says, "Was wondering, was the original seat red?"
No, not on X500.
Not on the 500. Good to know. John Zaccarelli says, "Thumbs up." Someone on Facebook is saying, "Nice, just like mine." Paul Reagan says, "Sounds great." Rob Baker says, "I can smell it from here." Reese Flurry says, "Very cool. Nothing like the sound of a triple." Absolutely. John Spranger Jr. says, "Nothing, the same thing. Nothing sounds better than a triple." That is true. Jeff Pierce says, "Looking good, fellas. Rich, I still have your ratchet strap."
Yeah.
Cool. And Arctic Cat says, "Smells like winter." Braden Baker says, "Where's the smoke?" And someone on Facebook says, "No smoke, must be running Amsoil."
Amsoil, they all run Dominator, mine do.
Nice. Good to hear it. Mark Radiel says, "It's not a very greasy triple." Someone on Facebook says, "Awesome." And was Polaris using Fuji engines back then? Doug Ricketson wants to know.
It's Polaris Star engine, but yeah, it was Fuji.
Very cool. Oh, and Roger Rice says yes. I'm not sure what that yes is to, but I'm looking for previous questions. But whatever it is, he's affirmative on it.
Mike, this sled is was a limited production. It's actually the first production triple aluminum chassis snowmobile available to the general public. They only made 1,500 of them, and I have a registry on Facebook on the Polaris TX Starfire group, and there's only 31 registered as of now.
Oh,
31
across Canada. So it's a very limited sled.
that's the collectors.
Yeah, that's a keeper. That's amazing. And it's so pretty. It's such a beautiful sled too.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is cool. We appreciate you showing that to us.
So moving through we have the 65 Olympic, which is all original. We had purchased this from our friends, the Manzaris. Bud and his family have a nice collection, and they were. This is something Bud's granddaughter most recently had rode when she was a little younger, several years back, and it really gets a lot of attention at the shows. People really respect the originality of the sled, and I think it's just the epitome of early vintage.
That was before suspension, eh?
Yes.
Correct. The suspension was all in the seat padding, and there's not much of it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
But this is about the most fun you can ever have on a snowmobile if you ride something like this.
Yes.
For about, 2.5 minutes. And then, you got to go to the chiropractor. But it's
Yes.
It's way different than riding 10 years advanced. Like on the other side of the shop here, we can flip over and show the 75 TNT 440. And you ride that Olympic for maybe 15, 20 minutes and then get on this 75 TNT, and it's like a Cadillac by comparison. Quite a few advancements that, Skidoo had really made and all the other manufacturers. So
they got rid of bogies and actually have side rail suspension.
this is an original sled that we had picked up from Rich Kepler, snowjet collector out near Rochester. And Rich had gotten this from the original owner. Has about 700 miles on it original. And, we're going to try to keep it original and just recondition what's there, work with it. Runs nice. We were able to get it running.
Wonderful. Oh, we do have comments coming in. We've got Rob Baker says, "Finally the yellow." And Paul Reagan says, "In the late 70s as a kid, an old Ski-Doo Olympic started my love of sleds."
Very nice.
For sure. Iconic.
Very nice. And so, next to the 75, we've got a 74 Free Air, 340 Free Air. And that we also had gotten from our friends, the Manzaris. And this sled, no trouble pulling the skis up. We were going to through the motor and need some bearings and whatnot. But we're going to also try to just recondition this one, keep it as original as we can.
Yeah. Very cool.
So moving along the shop, this Alpine here, Rob, you needed to see some Alpine. This is a real Alpine. This is the Alpine 2 that we were fortunate to purchase from the local club, Toad Hollow. And knew that we were interested in having a grooming machine for our club from Northshore Vintage. And they were really good to us about that. And this is a well-kept machine. Really is a beast to operate, and we're really proud to own this machine. Last year was their 50th anniversary of their club, and we were able to bring the sled back to their show, and it got a lot of response. It's really a great machine.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It looks very well maintained.
And they did some custom work with it. Has a nice winch that receiver hitch front and back. You can put a winch in it. It's got a nice light bar that they built on the back for the utility lights.
Yeah. Is that a custom front bumper as well?
It is. They added the receiver to that, so the winch can literally plug in front or back. Sometimes you do get in a little bind with these machines. There is an art to steering them, and it's not intuitive.
Sure.
Conditions are right. If it's crispy and the snow is a little crusty, it really does well. When it's soft and slushy or mushy, it does not do as well.
Sure.
A friend of mine told me the only thing can pull an Alpine out of a ditch is another Alpine.
Yeah. Well, we were just
Yeah.
straight too far from the farm with, because if you break down, you do need a recovery vehicle for it, for sure.
Yeah.
So moving through, we have 72 TNT. This is all original sled. This is one of Eric's personal ones that he's going to be riding, and it's a 440 model. All of our sleds, we really try to keep them as original as we can. Restoration is nice. We see a lot of restored sleds. We're really interested in just really trying to preserve what's there, and if it can be reconditioned as opposed to just restoring it, we'll do that.
Sure. Now, Reese Flurry is asking, where is the Red Devil? Is that a sled we should know about? Or
Red Devil's under wraps.
Maybe the next podcast.
next? Yeah, absolutely.
Then Pete,
But please continue though. Sorry.
So the TNT and the Silver Bullet, every time these are at shows, people really respond. You just listen to the comments and I had one of those, or my dad had one of those, or I rode one of those. And same thing with the Bullet. It's very, very high interest snowmobiles at the shows. And
I believe that.
Plus they were common, so many people really learned to snowmobile on some of these.
Yes.
Still really enjoyed today. Eric runs a Facebook group for the Silver Bullets, and the following here, well over 500 members. In
800 or 700.
It's even grown a little more than I realized since last year.
Wow. Yeah. So what is someone searching for on Facebook if they'd like to find that Facebook group?
Just Skidoo Silver Bullet, and
Skidoo Silver Bullet.
It'll find that group.
Eric, what year did they make the Silver Bullets?
73.
Only the 1 year?
1973. Yep. They, you can see sitting, side by side. There's a lot of design cues they pulled from the 72.
Yeah.
There's a lot of theories about why they did the Silver Bullet, and some people say it was a 15th anniversary sled, which doesn't really, the math doesn't work out. The story I got, which I, hearsay, don't know if it's true, the former local dealer, who actually became a dealer in 73, I believe, said that, they're having a meeting, all their executives, and one of the woman that was in the meeting saw a silver car drive by the window, and she was like, I like silver. And that's where they got the idea for the silver color.
Yeah.
You know,
It came with two different motors, did it?
They had 3 different options. There was a 294 twin, which had twin carbs. There was a 340 twin, which is single carb, and then a 440, which was also single carb. They had 2 different suspension options. You could still get bogey wheels, and then they had a slide rail suspension option, which was the first year where it was actually really pretty decent, you know, for the time. It rides quite nice. You can see, compared to this 72 is a bogey sled. It sits a little higher up. There's a lot more travel in the suspension, and it doesn't break your back quite as bad. But there's still people that, you know, to this day will swear by bogeys. I guess it was just a preference thing, and that's why they offered it, I guess.
Sure.
I don't know how many times I had my bogey wheels flip upside down, and it was so hard to turn them back out in the middle of the trail.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
The debate rages still today, 50 plus years, as to which of the silver bullets was the fastest one too. So we did a little poll on our Facebook group, and people swore that it was the 294 with the sliders that was probably the quickest one. The bogeys, I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
we want to do that. We want to actually get a gathering of silver bullets at one of our events, because, you know, you'll typically see 1 or 2, and one of the viewers, Dave Trim, has some nice silver bullets. So we're hoping that some of the other people, and we'll give a shout out to Russ Gotham. He has some bullets in our many overlapping members between our Northshore Vintage group and also the silver bullet pages and some of the other pages we're involved in.
Yeah, and if you ever do that kind of a showdown, we would love to be in the loop on that. I would love to see the results, and if you're able to gather any kind of video footage of that, we would love to see that and share that on the podcast.
Oh yeah, if it happens, it'll be on YouTube.
Cool deal. Yeah, please keep me in the loop if something like that happens.
Yeah.
That sled in the back, that Colt, that's that first fire you saw. And Rich has done a really nice job of really reconditioning some things. He's got the suspension now in order, and so he's buffed it up a little bit. He's continuing to really recondition it. So that's really a nice sled. Tell us a little bit about that sled, Rich.
This is kind of a funny story, because my first snowmobile that I ever had was a 67 Polaris Colt that was traded in. My dad actually gave the guy $30 trade-in on towards the chainsaw back in probably 1970 or 71, and he brought it home. The chain case had grenaded, and we put it back together, and he gave it to me, and I rode that sled for years and years and years. And not sure where it ended up, but a friend of Eric's, who is all skidoo, got a hold of Eric and said, "I got this Polaris down here. Know anybody who might want it?" So he showed it to me, and it's like, well, heck yeah, I'd want it. So we got a hold of him. I made him an offer. He said, "Come and get it." And this is the exact same sled that I had when I was a little kid.
Wow.
There's 130, a 292 J-Lo engine on it. And, you know, I've put new the drivers were okay, but the bearings were bad. So got all new bearings. All the bogey wheel bearings have been replaced. And really, I've just cleaned it up, put a new windshield on it, and we're waiting for snow. It's even licensed already for this year. We can never get snow.
Wow. So you're ready to roll with that.
There.
Now, Dustin Truesdell is wondering, is that a Model 120 Colt?
It's 130.
130.
Now, is that the one where the gas tank comes right out? You take the gas tank to the gas station? Yep.
Gas tank out. They say it's 3.5 gallons, but I don't think it's that big.
There it is. Yeah.
Guys are being limited to like 30 miles because I don't think we can go that far. But we're going to find out.
Yeah. And then we've got someone else on Facebook asking Rich Schaad if we could at some point see the rest of your Polaris fleet, which would be a great idea for another podcast.
Yeah, there's some of them on the Facebook page, the Northshore Vintage Sleds page. But yeah, we've got them out. If you look at the ad for the ride coming up January 27th, if Mike pull that up, that sled on the right, that's my wife's sled.
Yeah.
I bought a 79 TX 340, and that guy had that one set next to it. I said, well, I'll take that one too. And I came home, and she came out, and she says, oh, my God, we had one of them when I was a kid. So, well,
Huh.
this is yours. And she takes it to the whiteout, and she's got like 3 first-place trophies with it. It's all
Wow.
original, 100 miles, fun sled to ride. But, yeah, that's just one of the other ones that we have. And I just bought the TX 340 back from my boss. I had sold it to buy the ATX, and he hadn't ridden it, so I talked him into selling it back to me. So now I've added that. So
Nice. Yeah, we'll have to have you on another time for a closer look at these sleds.
we're hoping to do a podcast outdoors so we can really see them all, because we also have cutters that go behind them. And I know
Oh, that'd be cool.
Eric and Thom have the scooters that go behind theirs as well. So,
Yeah, and outdoors we could do some drive-bys.
oh, yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Yes, have to set up the slow motion cam for Rich's sleds.
There we go. Absolutely.
So dare I say we try to shift gears back to our other setup?
Yes, yeah, we can do that. And then I think you also had mentioned something about mini bikes when we were talking earlier. Was there anything about that we wanted to take a look at, or
Which one are we talking about?
mini bikes? I don't know if there are any there,
If
or
you
if
want,
we just wanted to talk about them, or
my dad sold mini bikes. So if Eric stand up a little bit, that's his original sign. And our first snowmobile was actually a 1973 Lynx, and I think to this day I'm really pretty sure my dad never rode it. And although my older brother got some rides on it, the only thing I really remember was I barely could start it. I was only about 8 years old at that point, and I needed one of my older brothers to start it. And then it seemed like by the time I could start it myself, I really never could seem to get it started. So I spent a lot more time under the hood than on the seat of that.
sure.
But we still have 73 Lynx doing it great. So
Nice.
Got obviously a little bit of motor oil running in our veins here. The snowmobiles are just, I think what really captivates me about it is really just the common interest with other people. And you really find out that other people's, experiences with them and the fun they had with them are similar to your own. And, that's the glue that binds us in this community. We've all got similar things and interests. And, this idea that, Skidoo is the best or this one's the best. Well, it's kind of fun to have that little rivalry. At the end of the day, we're all in this for the same reasons. And, I'm just proud that we're a part of the vintage community in our state. And, it's expanding through Facebook, really get to see, what other people are doing. And, you find out that, people in Wisconsin are struggling with the same issues we are and whatnot. So, snowmobiling is just a nice level playing field, if you will. Everyone can get involved, and there's room for everyone in it.
Yeah, for sure. And it brings us all together because, like you said, we've got so much more in common than not. The rivalries are fun as long as they're kept friendly. But we, like you said, we just get so much more in common, and it's a wonderful celebration when the community comes together and shares stories and good times. And
Their event they're doing, Mike. If there is no snow, it'll be just a show and shine.
Yeah, we'll have a gathering anyway, and we'll have hopefully people bringing their sleds there, and we'll get together and whatnot. So we go down. Thank yous. And
what's the year the vehicles you can attend with at your event?
Any age is fine. Let me just switch our audio. You muted?
oh, I'm not able to unmute your mic on this end.
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
There we go. We're in business. We're good.
I
Yep.
apologize for that little snafu earlier. But,
Sure.
there's no limitation. Any sled is welcome to participate in our ride. As far as the goodie bag and the vintage ride, up front will be the vintage sleds, whatever that is. And every week there's a debate on some group about what really is vintage. And I kind of laugh about that. It's a moving target, folks. We want to be inclusive, so we don't discriminate, as they say. But as far as the riders that'll be there, everybody that registers a 79 or older, the first 50 registered sleds will get a goodie bag.
Nice.
But everybody's welcome. So
if you have snow, how far is the ride?
It's at approximately 22 miles. We think 22 to 25. We've got to actually see what the conditions are, how far on the trail we can go. Again, we're being optimistic that we will get enough snow to ride. So
how many volunteers?
I'd like to give a shout out to two of the clubs that if the trails are open, it will be the Square Valley Club and also the Vanderbilt Club that are helping out with that. They'll do what they can do to make sure the trails are in good condition for us. But if you can throw that thank you video up, graphic up, I just want to make sure, number one, we thank our better halves, Jacqueline, Kristen, Chris, and Patty. Without them, we really can't do this. I'd like to again thank you, Mike, and you, Rob, for supporting our event with some product and also what you do with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. I'd like to thank our founding member, Mark DeCuffa, for his support through Two Guys Pizzeria and Family Restaurant. I'd like to thank Jim Baldwin at Junkyard Enterprises, Russ Gotham at Gotham Printing, Eastern Vintage Snowmobile Supply, Oswego Valley and Ellis Insurance Agencies. I'd also like to give a shout out for all the cool flags behind us from Sammy at Flag Express. And also I'd really like to recognize and thank the family of Matthew Bewick. I know Tim's uncle had signed in. Tim, there's probably some other family members viewing. And so we thank you for believing in us, really. Maddie was one of us, and we really want to reciprocate the love, that he had in snowmobiling and share that love with everybody. And really, this is what it's about, is bringing people together. So that event, Rob, yes, whether the conditions allow or not, we'll gather, we're going to have a good time, and we're going to celebrate our friend Maddie regardless.
How many volunteers you have helped tow people back?
Let's see, 1, 2.
We're still working on that one. We're working on it.
There's actually a lot of people behind the scenes, and actually, I'd like to throw a shout out to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They're actually coming to our event. Our local chapter is coming, and there's a chapter near where Matt lived, and they've been very, very supportive of doing what they can to bring some awareness to our members and to support Matt's family. So I give them a big shout out as well.
If a person brings her sled, I know the last one I attended, you didn't need to have insurance or a trail permit for that day.
Well, this is done through a permit that I pulled through the Parks and Recreation. It's actually, the sleds don't need to be registered, but they do need to have liability insurance.
Okay.
And so it's available locally through the insurance agents that there are around here. Ellis Insurance is, they're right here local, that they can get you insurance, just liability insurance, but that's a requirement from New York State. We just pulled a permit, so they don't need to be registered.
Sure. And in a few minutes we have left, pardon me, I'm getting over a sore throat here. I'd like to take a few quick comments. Paul Reagan says the ride starts about 10 minutes down the road from him. He said if he gets his John Deere squared away, he's in. Love to see that JDX. Roger Rice says only took me 50 years to get my 71 Articat 340 EXT, but well worth waiting for. I may be old, but when I walk into the shop, she makes me grin like I was a kid again. Absolutely. Let's see. Steve Moser says, great to see an organization promoting riding. We'll definitely see you this winter. Rob Baker says, do the vintage sleds need to be registered for the ride? And I believe we've answered that. Also, Tim Bewick says, great job, guys. Can't wait to meet the group. Dustin Truesdale says, Steve Moser, you can't come, LOL. And Steve Moser says, where can someone get some of those snazzy hoodies? And I know there's a link to that on your Facebook group.
On the Facebook group.
Absolutely. And there's a link to that in the description. Those are nice hoodies, by the way.
Thank you.
John Spranger Jr. says, great podcast. Happy New Year. And Dustin Truesdale says, no one will bother anyone with a permit in place from parks. Good job doing that. Cool deal. Well, cool. So we are up against the top of the hour. Time to wind it down. But before we do, any final closing thoughts from you guys?
Well, I just want to say, Mike and Rob, for putting us in this opportunity, really to get some recognition for our group and what we do. And, you know, we'll certainly welcome a chance to partner with you again in the future. So thank you. It's been an honor and privilege to be a part of this.
You might see me there.
Hey, come on. We'll put you up somewhere.
You might have to tow me, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, your comments were great. And, you know, if there's some ideas that they'd like to see us focus on a particular sled or the bullet, we'll definitely make that happen because, you know, we've got a lot of members that really have these unique sleds. And so we can really pull some information together. That's like almost like a co-op buying power, if you will, to the resources.
And maybe what we can do in February is once the show is over, maybe have you on again. And if Eric has some footage, we can play some clips and talk about them before and after and do kind of a post show podcast talking about what happened.
Sure.
No pictures of me being towed back.
Yeah.
There are door prizes and award for first sled to break down, sled that made part of
the oldest vintage driver.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Yes.
What we're trying to do here is we're just trying to promote riding with the vintage sleds. There's three particular vintage snowmobile groups. There's our Northshore, there's Pillar Point Vintage Sleds, and also Tug Hill Vintage Sleds. And if all goes well and the weather cooperates, March 16th, all three of us vintage snowmobile groups are going to get together for a day of vintage riding from the Casoga Tavern and campgrounds. And that's something that you'll see on our event page, but you can follow that. That's going to be an interesting day if the weather cooperates.
Yeah,
for sure. Oh, we've got a few more comments that have come in. Here we go. Oh, Reese Fleury, our mutual friend, says, great show, guys. Thank you. Mike Bartlett says, great show, guys. Thank you for inviting us to watch. Rob Baker says, the Invader. Yes. Mark Red Eel says, enjoyed my first visit here. I will be back, and we thank you for that. He says, thanks and Happy New Year. And yes, please come back every week, Mark. We try to have some fun here every week, every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. This is an opportunity for a shameless plug for the podcast. Wherever you're viewing this right now, just circle back in 1 week's time, and we'll be waiting for you with another episode. This podcast simulcasts to 8 different places across Facebook and YouTube. Braden Baker says, I'm going to get the first sled to break down. He's going to get that award. Roger Rice says, thank you so much, fellas. Arctic Cat says, I will tune in on Thursdays. Enjoy the podcast. Thank you, Arctic Cat. We will look forward to that. Paul Reagan says, thank you. Great podcast. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Rich and Eric, any final quick thoughts before we close?
I just appreciate you doing it. And I know you and I had talked at the Nationals where you first seen the ATX. And we had talked about something like this, and we finally made it happen. So,
yes, I'm glad we finally did, and it was really nice to meet you at Old Forge, by the way.
Thank you,
Rob. Any final thoughts before we close?
That's a great charity these guys are doing to help it out, and it's nice to snowmobile people like to get together. It's nice to have a place to take your vintage. I know people like to put them on display, but they're meant to be driven.
Yes,
you got it. That's the motto. We like to ride.
Yeah. I looked it up. It's only a 5-hour drive for me to get there, so we'll see.
Nice.
Okay.
And Kevin Culhane says, great show. Happy New Year. Steve Moser says, great job on the podcast. Thank you. And with that, we give the last word to Amsoil. But before we do, I'd like to do maybe a quick moment of silence for Matt before we close, and then we'll go into the close with Amsoil. So if we could just maybe pause for a moment in silence. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today we're going to be talking about Amsoil, and in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your Amsoil products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what Amsoil is and why you should consider using Amsoil products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. Amsoil is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses Amsoil for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that Amsoil is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because Amsoil doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And Amsoil likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of Amsoil is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slipperier type lube, it cuts down friction and drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, Amsoil says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the Amsoil bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the Amsoil. Amsoil's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero. Wow. If you ever tried petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So Amsoil's an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running Amsoil than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Amsoil is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that Amsoil has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the Amsoil experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
Amsoil has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, Amsoil will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer. You save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. Amsoil sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering Amsoil. Is that correct?
It is.
Wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an Amsoil order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to amsoil.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, amsoil.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the preferred customer program page, where you can take advantage of all of these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've join the preferred customer program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click add to cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click view cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order that gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of this signature series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click checkout now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an Amsoil account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to Amsoil. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike LaPierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for Amsoil under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your Amsoil preferred customer program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a vintage snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the vintage snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters free DVD requests, so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering Amsoil as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from Amsoil, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from Amsoil. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the Amsoil marketing plan. Amsoil has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing, or hot rods. We have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing Amsoil for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with Amsoil. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate Amsoil leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes. And just by wearing my Amsoil hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about Amsoil. People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the product.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
Amsoil's a fun business. Amsoil's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the Amsoil products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the Amsoil products or to join the Amsoil team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.